Welcome to Oryx Learning. Today's lesson is on Unit 6, Triangles and Pythagorean Theorem, Lesson 2, Geometric Proof. Two adjacent angles whose non-common sides form a line are a linear pair. The sum of the measures of the angles in a linear pair is 180 degrees. As we can see in the diagram, angle 1 plus angle 2 are a linear pair and therefore 180 degrees. Vertical angles are two angles that are formed by intersecting lines. They are not adjacent but share a vertex. Vertical angles have the same measure. So in this diagram, angle 3 and angle 5 are vertical angles and therefore equal. And angle 4 and angle 6 are also vertical angles and also equal. When two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, they create several different angle pairs, one being corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are in the same position relative to the transversal in each of the parallel lines. For example, angles 1 and 5, or angles 3 and 7 would be considered corresponding angles. Alternate interior angles are on opposite sides of the transversal and between the parallel lines. For example, angles 4 and 6 would be alternate interior angles. Alternate exterior angles are on opposite sides of the transversal and on the outside of the parallel lines. For example, angles 2 and 8 would be alternate exterior angles. Which pair of angles represents vertical angles? As we know, vertical angles are angles that share the same vertex but do not share a side. Only angle 1 and 3 fit that description from the angle pairs that are listed. So angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. In the diagram, lines T and S intersect. Choose the reason for the statement, the measure of angle 3 equals the measure of angle 1, because angles 3 and angle 1 share a vertex, but no side. Therefore, they are vertical angles. And as we know, vertical angles are congruent. So the measures of angles 3 and angle 1 are equal. So back to the statement, the measure of angle 3 equals the measure of angle 1 because they are vertical angles. In the diagram, the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3. Complete the paragraph proof to show that the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 4. So we are given that the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3. And they ask us to prove that the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 4. To fill in the paragraph proof, we will say that the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 2 because they are vertical angles. Therefore, since the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 3, the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 3 by substitution. The measure of angle 3 equals the measure of angle 4 because they are vertical angles. Therefore, since the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 3, the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 4, again by substitution. Complete the two-column proof. Given, lines S and N are parallel and cut by transversal T. Prove angle 1 and angle 4 are supplementary. The first statement is the given statement, and the given is that lines S and N are parallel and cut by transversal T. We can then say that angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair, as well as angle 3 and angle 4 are also a linear pair. This is because of the definition of a linear pair. The measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180 degrees, and the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 also equals 180 degrees because the definition of supplementary angles. We can then say that the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 4 because if two lines are cut by a transversal, two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the corresponding angles are congruent. The measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 4 will then equal 180 degrees by substitution. And finally, angle 1 and angle 4 are supplementary, which is what we were trying to prove by the definition of supplementary angles. When writing geometric proofs, make sure to state the information given in the problem, look for relationships between the angles, as in vertical angles, linear pairs, or angle pairs from parallel lines. List relationships in a logical order, working toward what needs to be proven. That is our lesson for today. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed it.